book. So what does this book do? Well, this book, as the foreword, by the way, the foreword was written by her husband, J. Richard Pearcey.
I'm sure she had to pay a lot of money for that one.
Yeah, right.
Big endorsement.
Yeah. He says that Finding Truth articulates a set of key strategic principles by which to evaluate the authenticity of any worldview that we encounter, right? So whether it's in the classroom or the office or, on the news or on the street or whatever. So that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
And so, and he also says that Finding Truth argues that no secular worldview adequately accounts for the phenomena of man and the cosmos and what we know of human nature and physical nature. In other words, no secular worldview accounts for the world reality as we know it.
Right. Yeah, we saw that with Mitch Stokes' book, How to Be an Atheist, in our last book that we took on. And so this is kind of a less esoteric philosophy, but there's still some philosophy in here, and it's more of a how-to guide a little bit.
Exactly.
It's breaking down how to break down worldviews and kind of take that first initial step, so that way you can evaluate what evidence is being presented to you.
Yeah. So this is a book about strategy in terms of looking at worldview. What is the strategy as we examine worldviews, and then from there, as we break those down, how can we understand them and where do they go wrong and that sort of thing. She says that learning how to respond thoughtfully to every competing worldview would take a lifetime of study, right? And what happens when we encounter a new one that we haven't studied before? Now we have to go back and study it, right?
Lots of Twitter posts.
Yeah, so do we have to come up, she's asked, with a new argument every time? And she's going to say no, that there is an overarching strategy that we can use when we're examining these things. And her question is it possible to find a single line of inquiry that we can apply universally to all ideas, right? And so that's what she wants to give us. She says, what I've discovered is that the Bible itself offers a powerful strategy for critical thinking. And she calls these 5 principles that cut to the heart of any worldview. So how about that?
Yeah,
right?
Not too bad.
So, the book that we would expect to do that does that for us, the scriptures, the Bible, right?
Right.
She says that by mastering these principles, you'll be equipped to answer any challenge while making a compelling and attractive case for Christianity. Right?
And some of the other books that she's written too takes these principles, but this is the one that kind of formulates it. Her most recent one, Love Thy Body, really does a good job of utilizing these as well, and saying, let's take a look at what's going on in our world today in 2020 now, from the future or from the past, depending on when you're viewing this. And it applies kind of how people speak about people, the human condition, where the universe came from, why is there something rather than nothing? Kind of those 3 questions that, again, going back to Mitch Stokes' book, philosophers or scientists are now trying to answer those questions, because all the theology people and philosophers have been kind of kicked to the curb, and science now reigns supreme. Yeah,
good. So she also, by the way, has a previous book, actually several previous books, but one that's kind of on this line. It's called Total Truth. Yeah. And there she deals with some of these kind of issues and worldview issues there. This one, as you mentioned, is more specific in terms of laying out principles and strategies to deal with these various worldviews.